This news update is brought to you by
Grab somebody and tell them hello. Your happiness will be connect to flow. Smile and cheer because that is we flow. Grab somebody and tell them hello. With your hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air. This is how we flow, yeah. Grab somebody and tell them this is how we flow.
This is the Barbados Today morning news update for Thursday, October 8th. Thank you for joining us. I am Marie-Claire Williams. Customs officers seconded to the Barbados Revenue Authority are raising concerns over job security. They met with the National Union of Public Workers at the union's headquarters yesterday afternoon to discuss how best to address the problem. The NUPW's Acting General Secretary, Rosalind Smith, said the majority of officers were uneasy about their future because their secondment ends in 6 months.
They have been experiencing a lot of challenges, especially they're asking about their pension rights, and they were asking also about the car loans for traveling officers, since they've heard that within the valuations department there are plans to outsource that section, and I think that we plan to have a meeting with the management to clarify these claims, because it goes contrary to what the workers would have anticipated over the 2-year period.
Smith added the workers are also questioning the length of time being taken to appoint officers.
We were told in an earlier meeting that most persons were appointed. However, it seems not to be the case. So as I said, we need to have an urgent meeting with management to ensure that these claims can be clarified to the best of our knowledge, because the workers themselves obviously would have a legitimate expectation, having transitioned to BRA, to have all the conditions and terms and the contract sorted out before the end of March, because that's the time they would have to make that informed decision whether they would be remaining with BRA or whether they will go back to the public service. So it's crucial that we have all these matters cleared before March 16.
Smith added the workers are asking that all terms and conditions of their contracts be sorted out before the end of March 2016. She says this will allow them to make an informed decision on whether to remain with the Revenue Authority or return to the general public service. The operators of public service vehicles are putting forward a counter-proposal to the Ministry of Transport, which is considering introducing security measures on school buses to keep students in check. Chairman of the Alliance of Owners of Public Transport Operators, Roy Raphael, is suggesting that government privatize the school bus service. Raphael told Barbados Today the ministry would save by allowing private operators to run an efficient and well-regulated school bus service.
We are happy to say that we don't have those type of major issues on our buses at this particular time related to school children, even the traveling public. We don't have much of those type of issues now, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know, because most of those buses would have had school children in them coming directly from schools. What we're suggesting to the government is that the time may come where they may have to privatize the school bus service. Mm-hmm. Because if you privatize, you have more supervision. Because these are the people that own the same buses would not want to create that type of issues or problem on their bus.
Development experts from several regional countries are continuing talks today to explore ways to effectively address the sustainable development challenges faced by small island states in the Caribbean. They are focusing on developing vulnerability resilience profiles for these countries. The VRP will help SIDS monitor and evaluate their progress towards building resilience in the context of the Barbados Programme of Action and its implementation through the Mauritius Strategy for Implementation. Addressing participants, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, Jepta Ince, highlighted the importance of the exercise.
Your deliberations over the next few days must encompass an optimal design and practical governance framework for building resilience around 5 pillars, namely macroeconomic stability, macroeconomic market efficiency, good governance, social development and cohesion, and sound environmental management. There must also be some consensus for the push for the adoption of Vulnerability and Resilience Index by international financial institutions and the use of resilience profiling to drive progress toward greater resilience. Note also that country profiling should be advocated as a mechanism to identify resilience gaps and inform national strategies to guide change in a results-oriented way.
Two local Pan Africanists are taking the British Prime Minister David Cameron to task for suggesting that descendants of African slaves in the Caribbean should move on. During his recent visit to Jamaica, Cameron admitted that these wounds run very deep and said Britain's role in wiping slavery off the face of the planet should be remembered. But veteran Pan-Africanist Robert Bobby Clark told Barbados Today Cameron had a convenient memory and a total disregard of horrors of chattel slavery. Meanwhile, St. Michael East MP Trevor Prescott said he was not surprised at Cameron's statement since, according to him, every former Prime Minister of Britain has rejected any form of reparations being paid to the descendants of slaves.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter, that's the move for me. Stability, prosperity, we're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
In news from the region, the Bahamian Prime Minister Perry Christie says cleanup operations after Hurricane Joaquin will be an expensive exercise. The Category 4 storm battered the Bahamas over the weekend, leaving widespread destruction in its wake. We get more in this report from ZNS Network News.
Prime Minister the Right Honourable Perry Christie, ahead of the actual figures, suspect that the road to recovery could cost tens of millions of dollars.
It's almost frighteningly large in terms of the enormity of it. And so, because to see the way infrastructure has been breached in different parts of Crooked Island, in different parts of Auckland, in different parts of Long Island, and those islands in particular have been devastated in some parts of it, and that means a lot of money.
Then there's the personal loss of these storm survivors. Mr. Christie told Parliament the government will move to assist those affected by signing an exigency order.
That will allow people, Mr. Speaker, in these areas I will sign these exigency orders to allow Bahamians to import duty-free essential items, coupled with the waiver of related landing fees, certain departure taxes, and customs processing fees. These fiscal measures will aid in making, Mr. Speaker, relief excellent.
Mr. Christie says they will also be establishing and announcing a special NEMA fund.
That will be intended. We're going to sort of have a public-private sector grouping. I'm going to invite leading members of the private sector to be a part of that, because the cost to the country is really enormous. And there are people who will not be able to find the means to recover from this, and we're going to have to find a way to help them. And we're going to have to find a way to help them sooner rather than later.
Prime Minister Christie says it's time to put in place legislation that safeguard Bahamians from having to endure these kind of experiences time after time.
And finally, U.S. President Barack Obama has apologized to the head of a medical charity in Afghanistan for the American airstrike on the hospital in Kunduz 4 days ago. Doctors Without Borders lost 22 staff members and patients in the attack. Washington now says the target was the Taliban and the bombing was a mistake. That's this morning's news. For more, you can log on to www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also tune in to Channel 101 on Flow TV and Mix 96.9 FM. I am Maricla Williams. Have a good morning.